From his past experiences with haunted houses, Tom was always left with a mix of fear and curiosity. As a child, he would often find himself standing outside these old, dilapidated structures, his heart pounding with terror, yet his mind filled with an insatiable curiosity. Despite the chills these houses sent down his spine, he could not resist the mystery they held. He was always pulled back by his curiosity, like a moth to a flame. This, however, did not subside as he grew older, but instead it grew with him, settling deep into his bones. Now imagine this: Tom, a regular guy, working late-night shifts as a pizza delivery man. On one such night, when the moon was his only companion and the city's buzz had faded into a distant hum, an order pops up on his screen. An address he did not recognize on the outskirts of the city where the city lights barely penetrated. A place he'd never been to before. But a job's a job, right? So he packed the hot, steaming pizza into his bag, hopped into his delivery car, and off he went, the city's skyline shrinking in his rearview mirror. The road became darker and the buildings sparser. Despite his efforts to shake it off, an uncanny feeling crawled up his spine. As Tom drove deeper into the night, the peculiar feeling persisted. Can you guess why? A decrepit house stands alone in an overgrown field, its silhouette barely visible against the moonlight. Tom pulls up to the address, the headlights of his old, beat-up car casting an eerie glow on the dilapidated structure before him. The house is old, almost ancient, and it looks as though it's been abandoned for years. The paint is peeling, the windows are boarded up, and the once white picket fence is now nothing more than a rotting skeleton of wood. For a moment, he hesitates. A cold shiver runs down his spine, prickling at his skin with an unsettling sense of dread. This isn't your typical pizza delivery destination, but he shakes off the feeling, reminding himself that he has a job to do. So, with a deep breath, he steps out of the car and approaches the house. As he nears, the front door creaks open, seemingly of its own accord. The sound is like a scream in the silent night, a chilling welcome that sends a fresh wave of goosebumps spreading across his skin. He pauses, his hand still extended towards the door. But there's no turning back now. From within the depths of the house he hears whispers. They're faint, barely audible over the sound of his own beating heart. But they're there, a symphony of unseen voices murmuring in a language he doesn't understand. His breath catches in his throat, and he swears he can hear the rustling of movement inside the house. But when he squints into the darkness, he sees nothing. Despite every instinct screaming at him to turn around and run, he steps forward, crossing the threshold into the unknown. The whispers grow louder, the unseen presences closing in around him. As he steps inside, the door slams shut behind him. Inside, the house is as cold as a crypt. A shiver runs down Tom's spine as he steps further into the gloom. He calls out, his voice echoing through the empty halls, "Pizza delivery!" But there is no reply, only a chilling silence that seems to swallow his words whole. From somewhere above, a noise breaks the silence, a faint whispering like the rustling of dry leaves in the wind. A prickle of unease crawls up his neck. With each step he takes towards the staircase, the whispering grows louder, a cacophony of indecipherable murmurs that bounce off the old peeling walls. His heart pounds in his chest as he ascends, the wooden stairs creaking under his weight. The whispering intensifies, a symphony of unseen voices that seem to be closing in from all sides. Yet he is alone. He sees no one. Suddenly the whispers stop. The silence is deafening. Fear grips Tom. He drops the pizza box and turns to flee. His heart pounds like a war drum in his chest, each beat echoing the urgency of his situation. Stumbling, he descends the stairway that had seemed so ordinary just minutes ago. Now it feels like a twisted path leading him away from the unseen terror behind him. His hand reaches for the front doorknob, cold and unyielding. He pulls, pushes, turns, but it's as if the house itself refuses to let him go. The whispering he heard earlier returns, but it's no longer just a whisper. It's a growl, guttural and predatory, as if the house itself is alive, hungry. Suddenly, with a creak that sounds like a sigh of resignation, the front door swings open. Tom doesn't waste a moment. He bolts out into the night, leaving the pizza box behind, its contents untouched. His escape leaves us wondering, what was it that he left behind? What lurks in the shadows of that eerie house? As Tom stumbles out into the night, his breath ragged and uneven, he turns around to find the house standing tall, its silhouette ominous against the moonlit sky. He's escaped, but the eerie whispers that filled the house seem to have followed him into the night. He can still hear them, growing louder with each passing moment. They echo in his ears, a chilling reminder of the unseen terror he left behind. He quickens his pace, his feet pounding against the pavement, but the whispers refuse to fade. They're a constant, relentless presence, a haunting soundtrack to his desperate flight. And then, all of a sudden, they stop. The night is silent once again, the whispers replaced by an unsettling quiet. Tom stops, his heart pounding against his chest, his breaths echoing in the silence. He turns around, half expecting to see the house looming over him, but there's nothing there, only the cold, empty street. He's alone, or so it seems. As the silence stretches on, we're left wondering, what happened to Tom? What secrets does the house hold? And more importantly, has he really escaped? Or is this just the beginning of a never-ending nightmare?